My name is Muriel Farrell Wymore, and I'm 76 today.
What was the happiest moment of your life?
Probably when I married your grandfather.
And what was the saddest moment of your life?
Oh, when my father died, 1962, just shortly after I found out that I was expecting another baby. My oldest son is named after me, my last name, Farrell, and he's named Farrell Wade Wymore because my husband didn't want another Wayne in the family. Then we had, 3 years later, we had a daughter, Darcy Lorraine Wymore, and she's married now. So she's Darcy Dixon now. Then your mother, Melanie, was born. I became ill for a while after Darcy was born, so we wanted to have 6 children, so we skipped 3 and 4, and we had 5 and 6. Leslie came 2 years later. There with the kid, and I finally said, "This is too rough for me. I'm not that good at swimming." Dear, somebody's been hurt out there. And there were like 6 or 8 people, I can't remember. They had their hands under this body, like that, and they were walking up the beach. And when they put this body down and walked away, I recognized his orange trunks. Oh my God. After they got to the hospital and I got my kids and family, my mother at home, then I went to the hospital and they were examining, going through all these tests and everything and so on. And this is not our home. We're here on sabbatical. And I need to know, I don't want any stories. And he said, well, if he lives through the night, he'll never walk again. We lived in the north side of Chicago. And there was a lot of gangsterism going on at that time. And I saw a man, had a hat on and a suit. I knew he didn't belong there. And he saw me, and he stared at me a minute, and he looked around, and he went opened a basement door. And the next morning, there were these policemen on our block. And they had guns in their holsters, and they were looking around and asking all kinds of questions. And so it turned out that the man who went in the garage was one of the gang of the Al Capone gang of Chicago, who did a lot of murders and a lot of bad things. I loved animals. I think every dog that I've ever had was a favorite dog at the time that I had them. I think overall I've had about 5 dogs, and every one of them is just wonderful. And my brother and I got along sometimes. I was always just a pill as far as he was concerned. Well, we have had so many wonderful trips. I really do believe the most memorable one was when Grandpa was invited to go to China and teach systems engineering. And I went with him. And we were living in Shanghai, in kind of a suburb of Shanghai. And nobody there, at that time, there were very few people in China who spoke English. It was just after they had denounced their dictator. And so things were just beginning to move about a little bit in China. And I was very brave, and I would catch the bus and make 3 or 4 changes and go down to Shanghai, the big city, and I took Chinese brush painting classes from a Chinese scholar.
What are you proudest of in your life?
Oh, probably my 4 children, who have all turned out to be very nice and not a problem to us or the community or the country. And they all have nice jobs and are doing very well themselves. My father, very luckily, had a job with the railroad company. He ran the office in Chicago for the Great Northern Railroad. And so he managed to keep his job, though his salary was cut by 50%. But so many people were very poor. And when I remember my mother had a friend, Mrs. Dilks was her name. My mother had an old coat, and she gave the old coat to Mrs. Dilks to make a spring coat for me. And so she did, and it was a beautiful coat, and I was so proud of that coat, because it had been originally my mother's, but that's the way it was when I was your age. What I want is now that I'm 76, I would be happy to live a few more years if I'm in good health. However, I do not want anybody to keep me alive, to, essentially extend my life beyond its worth.
Why?
Because I don't think it's fair to my family or to my grandchildren for somebody to have to take care of me when they should be taking care of their own children and their own grandchildren. I was doing stage makeup, and a guy by the name of Bob Seavey was in the play, and we had gotten to be good friends, and we'd go out to dinner. He always kept bringing this other guy along, whose name was Wayne. And so at the end of the summer, they took me down to Des Moines to catch the train back to St. Paul. And we were saying our goodbyes, and all of a sudden, this other guy, Wayne, grabbed a hold of me and gave me a great big kiss. And he said, "I'll see you when you get back." So that was the start of our romance. All of a sudden, in the sorority house, somebody yelled, "We're being serenaded, we're being serenaded," which usually meant that a whole fraternity would come to the front of the sorority house, and as a chorus, they would sing to you. And so everybody in the sorority house ran to their windows and opened their windows, and here was one person singing in the blue of evening. And guess who that was?
In the blue of evening, while crickets call and stars are falling, there 'neath the midnight sky, you'll come to me.
Oh, I'll try to make anything at all. But when I was younger, I loved making fudge. And we used to my girlfriends and I would come to my house, and we would make a great big pot full of fudge. Eventually, when we were about sophomores or juniors, there was a group of girls from other schools, and we had gotten together and had parties and sleepovers together and things like that. And eventually, there was a song at the time called "String of Pearls." And since we were always hanging out together and playing together or talking together, they started calling us the String of Pearls. And that became our theme song, which was a very popular song in the 40s. Let's be honest. That's the most important thing. And love your family and embrace them no matter what they do. And just be loving. I would like to be remembered as a very happy, loving mother and grandmother, and having done some of my duties to my community, and I've been involved in many things like PTA and Girl Scouts and children's organizations so that they could experience camping out, hiking, horseback riding. Oh, it's been much, much more exotic and interesting than I would ever had expected.